Hey, I've seen many different videos showing me how I can swap out my filter cartridges for something else that will save me money. This will be for your Intex pools, your Bestway pools and your Summer Wave pools. I'm going to look at the standard cartridge as well as the sponge filters, and I want to call them filter balls, but that actually is a company that make them, so I'm going to call them fiber balls because they're the knockoff clones from China. Last year I've tried them both and I've had limited success. Plus I only had the 330 filter pump, and that is the slowest pump you can get. And I wanted to see how the different filter mediums actually affect my water pump. Specifically, how fast does the water move through each of the filter mediums. Now this will be a completely unscientific test of the three different filter mediums, but it will give you a good idea of what to expect from your own pump. For this test I'm using an Emo pool pump SS020, and it's not the standard 330 gallon pool pump that came with my pool. The standard pump moved 1060 litres per hour, and this pump moves 10,000 litres per hour. That's an improvement of roughly 9 times. The closest comparable pump I found by Intex was the 2500 mph crystal clear cartridge filter pump, and that is only able to push 1900 gallons per hour. It has to be noted that these are best case scenarios and anything will slow them down. So whether it's a dirty filter, piping, that sort of thing. For this setup I'm using the 330 pool pump purely as a filter. The motor has been removed. You can check out this video and see how I did it. What you want to do is pay attention to how high each filter allows the pump to send the water. You can also see how my Intex skimmer is affected, which is notorious for having low suction. The first thing I wanted to do is check to see how high the water is without a filter. This gives us a baseline. With no filter, the water is able to go up 7 to 8 centimetres. The first filter I had to try was the official Type 1 filter. Interestingly, the water managed to reach higher on the tape measure than without a filter. A staggering 9 centimetres, but it also had lows of 6 centimetres. I can only imagine that this is because the filter is creating more disturbances in the water, which sometimes impedes water flow. The next filter I wanted to try is still the official filter, but this time I've used it and then I've tried to clean it. There was no difference in the height of the water. However, they are likely to need to be cleaned sooner than a brand new filter. The first alternative filter I have is a blue sponge in the shape of the official filter. I wasn't expecting much from these. They were cheap and I thought the dirt would pass right through them, but I was pleasantly surprised. The water manages to reach 8 centimetres, but with a low of 5 centimetres. This is slightly lower than the official cartridge. Next, I wanted to try a U-sponge that I'd cleaned. They are supposed to be washable, but can you clean them thoroughly enough? As the water reached the same height as this brand new sponge, I would say yes. Lastly, I've seen these fibre balls everywhere when I've been searching for pool items. I will be adding 10 balls to the filter. In addition to the fibre balls, I'm also going to be putting a fish filter to stop the balls getting wedged in the bottom of the pump. I'm not sure how well these actually filter the water. They seem to be good, but as you can see the water manages to only reach 2 centimetres. so the amount of water that the pump can turn over is greatly diminished. Also notice that the skimmer is no longer pulling down. Lastly, we have the used fibre balls. Like last time, I'll only be using 10 of them. Interestingly, the output is now 3 to 4 centimetres, which is double that of the new balls. I suspect the reason for this is that the older balls have lost their fluff, which means you can get more in the same volume as the newer ones. However, I only use 10, which allows more room for the water to pass through. The other filters force the water to go through them rather than around them. If you do the same with the fibre balls, then you have no real water flow, which puts a strain on the motor. I think this is why my 330 filter pump got noisy and eventually died. So, what was the point of all these tests? I wanted to see how using cheaper filters could affect the performance of your pump. Adding in a skimmer or a heat mat, these all affect the performance of your pump.